From the podcast studio of WTAP Plus comes your source for sports, WTAP Sports Frenzy, with host Griffin Albright.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to WTAP Sports Frenzy. We are here today for our, I believe, fourth episode, something like that. And we've got another very special guest today. He is part of our sales team and also an Ohio University alum. Here he is, Mr. Trevor Porta. Trevor, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Griff, I appreciate you guys for having me. I'm excited to do this with you today.
Absolutely. We all know, me and Andrew know, at least that you're fellow knower of ball. You know a lot about sports. You've seen your fair share of things.
Big Ohio Bobcats guy.
Absolutely. Right. So let's get right into it. Let's start about Ohio, man.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a big basketball season, obviously, in the MAC. We've had some really interesting stories going on, too. We're at Miami of Ohio, in there in the top 25, undefeated. Yep. Just maybe, what are some of your thoughts on the MAC and Ohio specifically this year?
Yeah, as an OU guy, I've got some specific feelings toward Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But, no, it is great for the MAC to get that exposure. I mean, I think it's the best record in the MAC, in history of MAC, if I'm not mistaken. I know for a fact it is for Miami, Ohio. But I love MAC basketball. Again, I'm kind of biased. I worked for the athletic ticket office for a little bit at OU and got to see a lot of the basketball up close and personal.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that is really cool.
It was fun. And so just the atmosphere that MAC basketball has, obviously it's a smaller conference, some less known schools and players and things like that. But again, the exposure that they're getting alone just from Miami, Ohio is fantastic.
100%. And I think I was listening to ESPN the other day. I think Joe Lunardi was talking bracketology, and he was just like, mid-major basketball is getting really disrespected, it feels like, especially in the past few years. And so this argument that Miami, Ohio, should they get into the tournament if they lose a game? Like, do they have the luxury of being able to lose a game and still making the tournament? Right. Which, it's crazy, I feel like,
it's a pretty crazy conversation to think about.
Right, an undefeated team not making the tournament just because they lose one game, especially if it's in the conference tournament. So, what do you think? Do you think if Miami, Ohio loses a game, maybe even two, do they still belong in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who you are in college basketball. Winning every game in the season is pretty impressive.
100%.
I mean, you've seen teams do it in the past that have some bigger names on them, but at the end, there's always, it's just one of the toughest things to do is go undefeated. And I think seeing on ESPN and some of those other shows where they have them on the bubble or out of the bubble.
Yeah, the projection is out.
It blows my mind.
It is pretty hysterical to me.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
I mean, I don't see how you can have a reputable tournament and leave a team like Miami, Ohio out. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think it would be crazy to leave them out even if they lose one game. And it's like, it's tough to really, I think, knock them for their schedule. They're beating everybody they're supposed to beat. I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do, and teams are probably scared to schedule them because, why would a Power 4 team want to bring in a mid-major team and lose to them? It's a lose-lose because if you beat them, who cares? You beat a MAC team, but if you win, but if you lose, then it just kind of ruins your reputation. So, yeah, I agree with you that it's like, what else are they supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you play who's on your schedule.
Yeah.
And the goal is to win the game. So, again, it goes back to the fact that winning every game is not an easy thing to do, and I think that speaks volumes for the team. And I know the coach up there has really loved to, and he's got the school buzzing, which, again,
Trevor Steele has had his boys playing well. I mean, they're a fun team to watch. I don't know how much you guys have gotten to see them play. They played OU just last week.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Obviously, that was a tough game. Saw them play a few other times this year, and they're fun. They're, aggressive in transition. They play with a quick pace. They, I believe, lead NCAA right now in scoring. I believe
they're one of, if not the most efficient.
I was going to say it's 92
offenses.
Points a game they average or something. Yeah. So if you love offense, if you love the three ball, then they're a team you're going to want to tune in and watch. So I don't see why. Let's say they end up not losing any games and they lose in the conference tournament. Then I think they deserve a bid easily. Then, like you guys both said, the ESPN projections saying out for them if they don't. They're projected as an 11 seed at best right now. Yes, I know they haven't necessarily played anyone, but they've beaten everyone that's been put in front of them, and you can't knock a team for that. That's kind of what we always see with the college football playoff the last couple of years, too.
Yeah, and to Griffin's point, I think it's one of those teams that if they're 11 through 16 seed somehow, it's a team that anyone above them is not going to want to play.
You're not going to be excited to see a team that possibly hasn't lost a game all year coming in with confidence at an all-time high, and a team that can score the rock like they can. Maybe tougher competition will expose some flaws that a team we aren't seeing with them right now, But
they're definitely going to play with a chip on their shoulder too.
Absolutely.
I mean, they've been disrespected all year and haven't lost a game. So you got to imagine if and when they get in that tournament, they're going to come out playing hard.
And if Miami Ohio's in there as a 13 seed or 14 or 12 or whatever, that's going to be the most popular.
Oh yeah,
I think lower seed picks. Everyone's always looking for those upsets. That would be the easiest one to pick. Is pencil them in for
everyone. You don't
upset.
even have to know anything about college basketball.
No,
you just see the record and you're picking that team.
28-1. Yeah, I'm picking that 12
no matter
seed
what
to win.
seed they are.
Oh yeah, you got to take a couple every year.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
You got to. So let's talk maybe Ohio more specifically. Sure. You obviously working with the school, going to the school. You know about Ohio versus Miami, that big rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
They
the
just
Battle
played.
of the Bricks.
Yeah, not too long ago. Just played primetime ESPN. It was a pretty good game for the most part. Ohio hung in there, I think, until maybe.
Yeah, second half it started to get a little ugly, foul trouble. You know, Miami of Ohio's offense just didn't miss. OU missed a couple times.
Right.
Game of runs. They kind of went on that bad run for 3-4 minutes, and it was good night at that point.
Yeah, I think everyone knew who the favorite was going into that game. As a Bobcat alumni, obviously, I was hoping they'd pull it out. But OU started the year really slow. They offensively struggled for a good portion of the season, but now they've gotten to the MAC play. They've played real well, and I think they're sitting in 5th or so in the MAC right now, so they'll earn their spot in the MAC tournament here at the end of the year. And the year after I graduated at OU is when they went on their big run back in 21 when they took on some big teams, and the campus when that happened was an absolute madhouse. So I can only imagine, again with Miami, getting a chance to do their thing, what that could do for the campus and the students. And but yeah, with OU. I've been impressed with Coach Bowles. He's been there since I was a sophomore or junior, I believe. And he's consistently had teams that play at a consistent level. And it's obvious that those players go to OU for Coach Bowles. I think that he's got a really good relationship with those guys. And then even when he came in originally and we had guys like Vanderplas that stuck around, and then you had Christian Christian Preston who ended up getting drafted later on. So some cool stories with Coach Bowles coming out of OU. It's been a down year, but I think the program's in really good hands from what I can see from the outside now.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. And maybe it hasn't been quite the season that Ohio's wanted in terms of record, but there's always that conference tournament, that hope of winning that and making it to the NCAA tournament. Right. And coming up at the end of the schedule actually is Ohio will host Miami in the Convo, which I think will be a really good game.
Be a great game. I think it's their last regular season.
I believe
game
so. Yeah, I think that'll close out their season. So I'm sure been part of that rivalry firsthand. You've been in the stands, student section, probably cheering on, saying some nice things to those guys on Miami,
saying some choice words to those Red Hawks.
Let's get maybe your perspective on that first person. What was it like being a part of that rivalry, and how does it maybe stack up with some of the other rivalries around the country?
Even talk about it on the football field too. Doesn't it just be the basketball court?
Any sport.
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter what sport's being played, whether it's the women's field hockey team or soccer or our club hockey team. Everyone hates Miami. So the blood, there's no love lost there between the two schools. And every week, whether it's the week leading up to the football game every year, or the weeks leading up to our basketball games against them, I mean, there is a legit buzz on the campus and around Athens, Ohio. Even people that weren't alumni but have lived in Athens for a long time. I mean, those are the kind of people that go to all the home games every game and are there consistently. So that's also part of the crowd that is there. So it's a whole town thing. I mean, you don't have to be involved with the university. Even if you're a citizen of Athens County or Athens, the city of Athens, you hate the Red Hawks just as much as the students and the athletes do. And with football, I think not just the MAC, but with how long they've played each other on a consistent basis, and how much of that just the bad vibes between the two schools are. I think it is one of the better low mid-level rivalries in the country. We always used to say that Miami, Ohio was daddy's money. So that was kind of what we always used to get some. And Athens was more blue collar, hardworking type of thing.
I love that. So, I think that's how it's a good rivalry right there. Is things
when
like
you got
that.
Sayings, mantras,
people not involved in sports are pulled into it. The whole city's involved. That's how I think it's a really good rivalry. So really looking forward to that game.
Yeah,
and again, it was pretty good for a good chunk of the game at Miami. And I remember listening to that broadcast and just the announcers kind of talking about how many people were there, how much
sold that place out.
Which is kind of rare, I guess.
I mean, I even
recent
think
years.
it speaks to the not just Miami of Ohio, but the rivalry itself. The game was nationally televised on ESPN that night. Exactly. There wasn't a ton of games on major, high-level conference teams, but it was ESPN. It was the primetime show, 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night. I mean, can't get any better than that.
No, and it's one of those things, too, where if you're a fan of OU, you're like, man, this is a great opportunity to ruin our biggest rival's season, perfect season. And then you have a lot of people out there that aren't fans of either team, but they've enjoyed watching Miami, Ohio, and some people want to see them lose too. It's just it's one of those things that draws a lot of crowd, and like you mentioned, how crowded it was at their arena for that game. I think they sold 7,000 student tickets alone.
Wow.
And then the rest was filled out with the people around the area, alumni, and the folks that live around Oxford. I am excited to see what the turnout's going to be like for that game in the Convo, though, because
I think it'll be great.
I mean, it's senior day
I
night.
Hope,
not sure if it's a day or night game, but I think it's going to be as crazy as possible. I mean, Miami of Ohio doesn't have to play Akron again this year, who is the second best team in the conference, and the only game that they've lost in conference play has been to Miami of Ohio, and it was a very close game. So they might not meet until the MAC title game again. So I think senior night, senior day, whatever it may be, potential undefeated record, last game of the regular season at home as well. I just think that place is going to be the place to be.
Yeah, it's got to be, man.
I would agree. That place is going to be jumping. And the Convo, it's a very unique area to play. I don't know if either of you have been in there.
I've been in for a couple games already this season.
I have personally not, but if this is a Saturday game, we might all have to buy a ticket or something.
We might just have to
look into an investment right after this podcast.
100%. Yeah. Maybe soon.
It fits.
We got to take it close to game time.
Yeah. It fits, I think, like 13,000.
Oh, wow.
It's a big arena. It's big. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's kind of the history behind that is and back in like the 60s and 70s, OU was trying to get in the Big Ten. So to trying to get in the Big Ten, they were making their venues, a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
so they made the Convo be able to seat over 10,000, and then they did a lot of work to Peden Stadium too back then to add some more seats. So it didn't work out, obviously, but now we still got the great facilities. I mean, the Convo, it's old, but it's got so much history inside there, and the way you sit in there too, with the higher up you go, it gets more steep, so you feel like you're really looking down on the court. It's just, and the students are right there on courtside too, so it's a cool atmosphere.
Yeah, and you touched on Peden Stadium there, talking about football a little bit. Kind of want to get your opinion on this.
Yeah.
What a wild offseason for Ohio football, man. Right? All kinds of drama. Just what a weird situation that was.
Yeah.
Almost inexplicable.
I have to feel a little bit for the new athletic director. We brought him in, I think, in the summer or somewhere around there, and
what a good gift to walk into.
Welcome to it, man.
He gets a great football season, and then he's got the mess to deal with, and then of course with all the logo drama they got going on now too. So I mean, that guy's got his hands full. So my thoughts go out to him. But
thoughts and prayers, buddy.
I love the way. The last few seasons, OU's lost their head coach. We had Tim Albin left for Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then, and I apologize, can't remember his name, but our previous coach who just stepped down, Brian Smith, he filled the gap, just as Albin filled the gap for Frank Solich, who had been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I really appreciate about OU's football program is that they truly build a program, and what I mean by that is you lost 3 coaches in 3 years, and you won 10 games every year after that.
It's a great point.
Speaks to the culture.
Speaks to the culture. Speaks to the coaching staff as a whole. And OU was also one of the schools, I think, in 23, 24 that didn't have a single transfer leave.
That's what I was about to say too. I remember that they didn't really have a lot of people hit the transfer portal.
That was a big
thing. It has seemed like this year a little bit. Maybe
this year we have.
You guys have had some guys, and you haven't hit the portal super hard in the other way yet. But you never know how that goes. Sometimes some schools, like Clemson, for example, Dabo Sweeney doesn't like going after the portal. Maybe that's going to be the strategy this year, bring in your talent and kind of rebuild the foundation now with a new coach, with Hauser stepping up into the official head coach role. So I'm interested to see where the program is going to go this year. Did we already get news? Is Parker Navarro playing again? Because I know he tried. He got denied, right?
He was trying to play. Which is funny because I think Trinidad Chambliss just got approved for his 6th year, but Navarro didn't.
That story's funny too with Chambliss, because the judge that passed that was an Ole Miss alumni.
Was he really? Oh my goodness! Yeah, there you go. That just story writes itself there. That's unbelievable.
Parker Navarro, and that's another thing with mid-major schools like the MAC. You get a kid like that who puts up some serious stats and starts getting nationwide notoriety. That's just another way for not only the MAC but Ohio University to get put on the map. I mean, you had Timothy Chalamet, talking about Parker on college
Ball.
game day. So I mean, like, that was
cool.
huge.
Yeah,
I mean, like, that alone got a bunch of eyeballs on the Ohio University and Ohio University football. And Parker's a big reason why you have that. And you have guys like Shea Bangura that came back from Minnesota this year and had a heck of a year running the ball.
Yeah, really, even one of the best in the country.
Yeah, one of the best in the country. You mentioned some of the transfers. Our two best wide receivers. We had Hendricks.
It's tough to see Chase Hendricks. He was one of my favorite players on to watch.
Yeah, but he had been there for 3 years at least. So he
did his time. He put in his service to the university and stayed committed.
And I'm happy to see him, go to maybe a bigger stage.
Yeah,
and
he's jumping to the ACC.
Yeah,
jumping to
as
California.
a Duke fan, I hated to see him go to Cal.
Yeah, I'm not excited to see him go to Syracuse either. Potentially torch us.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Right. No, but I just think, and again, that goes back to the program that coaching staff has built in Athens, and I know with this new recruiting class they got coming in, it's like 17 of the recruiting class kids are from high schools in Ohio, so they recruit from the state pretty heavily, and that's another thing that I think is different because obviously
homegrown talent.
Yeah, you got Ohio State going down south and getting a lot of guys, and there's a lot of good football in Ohio. I mean, the high school football in the state of Ohio is probably I argue it's top 5.
I would agree with you. I think
I've only seen high school football in New Jersey and like West Virginia / Ohio, so I can't say I'm a good judge, but I'll agree with you.
So we'll trust the resident expert on that one.
It's funny. I follow. You guys like look at Max Preps and things like that.
Yeah, sometimes I can't say I sit there and like study other states, but I kind of try to watch Ohio and West Virginia.
Yeah, well, I think I was looking at the newest rankings for the state of Ohio this year for football, and I think 4 of them were in the top 10 were from the Cincinnati region. So Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Columbus and Dayton really are really good high school football. So
yeah, that's awesome. Hey, you love to see Ohio bringing in that homegrown talent, and you talked about the no transfers going out, the culture that they built, and I think it's cool. I went to the Ohio West Virginia game this year, the football game. That's right, you were there. Yeah, so that was really. I've been to a lot of college football games in my lifetime. That was probably top 5, one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And Ohio winning was really cool, and that kind of was kind of the turning point in West Virginia's season almost. I mean, it was nothing but downhill after that for them, unfortunately.
They had one more good moment, celebratory moment when they
the backyard brawl.
That's
true. Yeah, that's right. That came after that.
Besides that, then it was pretty much downhill.
Yeah, that was tough. But just being there for that game. Welcoming West Virginia, who, I mean, it was probably a pretty close 50-50 split in terms of fans.
Oh, yeah.
I know there were some WVU fans who were buying season tickets just to get seats for that game, thinking they were probably going to come in and steamroll you guys, and then you guys go out and just beat them. Yeah. And it was kind of a defensive slugfest, a lot of turnovers, I remember.
Right.
What was that like, being in the stands and seeing that game and seeing your team just go beat West Virginia at home?
Yeah, that was really cool, especially because I had just moved into the area here in the MOV, and so I'd really gotten to know a lot of the locals and knew how like half of Parkersburg was going to be at the game. So it was really cool just to have knowing that there was a connection from where I live now and where I was before. But yeah, that stadium, man, packed out. Full house at 25,000 or around there. Obviously, something Peden's never seen before.
Right.
OU's never seen before.
Yeah, it was.
But
unbelievable.
I mean, it was amazing. I mean, the crowd atmosphere, the fans alone too were great because West Virginia fans weren't. They were getting beat, but they weren't getting all mad and taking it out on the other opposing fans like some guys do. But I was actually sitting in front of some West Virginia fans in our seats, and it was funny. I think third quarter we're up 7. West Virginia turned the ball over, and they looked at each other and they're like, "Are we even going to go to the backyard brawl?" They were like, "Do we even go at this point?"
Oh, man!
So they were definitely, there were some broken hearts there.
Yeah,
but,
imagine.
But again, it's a testament to Ohio's program. The defense, like you mentioned, played extremely well in that game, and then toward the end of the game, when it mattered, they stepped up again and made some plays. So, I can't say enough about how cool that was to go back and see the amount of people that were packing that stadium, and just afterwards, before the game, we checked out campus, and there was a good buzz going on there, and people were really having a good time, and it was really exciting. So it's great.
Awesome, man. I love to hear that, man. Trevor, thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate your time, man. Great perspective, and best of luck for Ohio going forward. Looking forward to seeing how their season turns out. Fingers crossed they're in that NCAA tournament. Maybe they can win the MAC this year.
Yeah, let's pull up a Cinderella run in the MAC.
That's what I'm talking about. Come on, boys.
Yeah, we want to see the upsets. All right,
I appreciate you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, good to see you. We'll see you around the office, of course, Trevor.
Absolutely. I'll see you guys around.
We'll wave to you soon.
All right, well, that's going to do it for another episode of Sports Frenzy. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.